Hello there, this is Cookies, and I've got turn 60 of Asphodel. And after noting that I had still had an unforted throne like a scrub, I back into my current turn after recording the last episode, since my current turn is turn 63, so we're pretty close. And I went ahead and put in an order for a wizard tower. So hopefully that'll get a little bit more warning if, a queen of air with a whole army of stuff just suddenly showed up on my throne. So that's kind of what we did there. We also traded away a bunch of water gems for lanterns. This is to help speed up the process of getting the research we need, ideally close to or around the time that Scaleria is defeated. But yeah, we are in a little bit of a race against time because I think what's going to happen, I think this is Machaka's plan. And we've chatted a little bit, but I think what he wants to do is he wants to try and build a coalition against me. And then what he's going to do is when people commit to that coalition against me, he's going to commit to his throne rush. And then we'll see how that goes. So, so it's pretty hard to do Diplo as Asphodel, but we'll see what we can do. I think this is Eternal Pyre. I forgot to look at the globals last episode. We did pick up a Naiad, Sparkling Fields, Rune of Water. So continuing to do a little bit of site searching. You find some gems. All right. So there's only 3 battles this turn, and then I need to remember to look at globals for you guys. All right. So this is that raiding party. I don't think... Oh, these are still the Kethronic Lions. Okay. They looked a little bit smaller. Alright, and then we've got a small Calum raid. This could absolutely bounce on this. It's a few archers. They didn't land on the commander. Very budget, though. He's risking like 100 gold on this. And then in Griffa, we've got a scout ping on Bogus, seeing what's still there. Okay. So this turn, what are we up to? Still doing some site searching. Here are the globals. So global list is filling out a bit. We got Forge of the Ancients from Machaka, Eternal Pyre from Nabat, and Gift of Health from Nidavellir. We're now left with one last global slot. So when we go to try and overcast these, we'll want to make sure that we do it with quite a few gems. Some of these globals could be pretty high casts, and we don't want to bounce. That would be kind of game wrecking for us. So we'll have to do our best to try and save up on the Death Gem and Nature Gem front. But yeah, other than that, still site searching and still moving raiding groups around. I suppose in terms of what we've got, this is kind of our mage core. So you guys can get an idea about that. So we went about 50-50 for Black Dryads and Panics. I think it's possible to go even, especially if you're active about actually triggering the Twiceborn. I think you can get many more of the, where are they? Carrion Lords. 2 is a very low number for this point in the game. I think we overdid forts, we underdid Carrion Lords, and we should have probably triggered a bunch of the Twiceborns after the End War. But I think we'll live. Well, I mean, we'll see. We could get coalitioned and die, but in terms of troops, we're up near 4,000 mannequins, and we've got a bunch of other stuff, 1,100 harpy mannequins. So army graph, go burr. And I don't think there was a heck of a lot that happened this this turn outside of our research is going to shoot up next turn. And this is closer to what we're thinking about for final research thing. I am going to move all ancient presence down in the list, but construction to be able to get another death booster to avoid doing a death empowerment. And we'll do that into Utter Dark. And then so for instance, I guess, because getting to Death 9 is pretty tricky. So we've got Monsanto here. She's Death 5. If we give her a Skull Staff, she's Death 6. Skull Face, Death 7. But we still need 2 more levels of Death. If we can make one of the Death artifacts, either the Book of the Dead or there's like a rod or something that gives 2 Death, then that'll get us to Death 8. Potentially even Death 9, but on our way to researching that, because I anticipate that Machaca's probably forged a bunch of this stuff since he's got Forge of the Ancients. I am going to make a Ring of Sorcery, and then I can make the decision when we get into that level of construction to do either a Ring of Wizardry, or we can try and make one of the Death boosters when we get there. But we're going to leverage our very meager astral income to try and help us out a bit. All right. And then our site searching for astral is kind of poor. I could definitely do better there. So I'll have to remember I might go and make some more edits after this episode to get some of the astral guys walking around site searching. But we are trying to block some mind hunts as well. And I think that's most of it for this turn. So I'll go ahead and jump into turn 61. All right, so we've got turn 61. Do a little bit more site searching, not having a lot of luck. Yeah, big donut this turn, just wasting gems. And I was gonna try and be good about not doing remote site searching, but I'm also trying to be a little bit more efficient about how fast I get some of the air and fire income online. A grotesque idol has been unearthed. Interesting. And there is an assassination. Oh, that's nice. That's 2 gems. So this guy leads a group of we get a Minotaur bodyguard. This guy leads a group of Carrion Furies, so it would be nice if he didn't die. That's why his name is Clubs. Would be nice if we could hit the ghost. There we go. And our guy didn't rout, which is great. We don't care about that Minotaur. Alright, he did a great job though. But yeah, Vath goes ahead and turns into a forest as well, so it's good to see more forests spreading around the map. Whoever ends up controlling Enchanted Forests is going to have a great time trying to control this map. So we'll see how this goes. Alright, so that's turn 61, still doing site searching. Another Ring of the False Prophet getting forged. We're going to twice born the Strad Hag because she's diseased. We will make the odd exception, trying to keep our mage numbers up a little bit. And I think that's it for this turn. So I'll go ahead and jump into turn 62. Alright, so I've got turn 62 pulled up. We get our last global in there, so we'll take a look at that in just a second. Find an enchanted windmill. I think that's 1 error. Yeah. In terms of the globals, Stellar Focus put up by Net of Anger, pretty harmless global. does hurt our research pretty significantly, though, because it spreads Drain 1 around the rest of the world. And it will hurt the quality of our carrion reanimation. So not actually a huge fan of Stellar Focus. My hope is when I go to put up my 2 globals that I kind of overcast it. Hopefully I dodge Well of Misery and I overcast Stellar Focus. And we'll see how that goes. Alright. And I think that's it for this one. I mean, there's not a heck of a lot going on this turn. Another Ring of False Prophet. Some more site searching, more moving raiding groups out. A big thing that we've been working on is these caves had a lot of new mannequin generation because you get extra mannequin regeneration as the province pop kills, or at least it seems like it. So we had hundreds and hundreds of new mannequins show up in Agartha. So we've been ferrying those up to Ildmire to fill out raiding groups. This is like a really high quality group. It's mostly infantry. So we called this Company 1, but it's got Mandragoras, it's got Satyr mannequins, it's got regular mannequins kind of in 3 lines. And then we've got a group of Carrion Ogres in the back. So pretty cool little company group. And yeah, I think honestly, not a heck of a lot happening these turns. These turns are going pretty quick. I guess to show off the war, we can see Nidavellir is about to go on Scalaria. Calum has mostly finished up their Scalarian campaign. Shinyama ended up not taking Griffa, so I don't know if Calum's planning to do that. We do see some growing Diabakemono presences on our border, so starting to get a little concerned about that, but it could just be them wanting to protect themselves. They could be guarding this unforted temple that they might be worried about. And I think that's it for turn 62. So I will go ahead and see you on my current turn, which is turn 63. Okay, and hopefully I didn't accidentally stop recording one of those turns because we're only at 12.5 minutes, so this one's going kind of fast. We do a little bit of site searching for the current turn. We find a Dreamlight. I believe that's 1 Glamour. Cave of Clouds, I think, is maybe 1 or 2 Air. Find another Dreamlight. And then there's 1 battle where Nidavellir goes on Scalaria. They just run into some PD, I believe. And I think this Thaumaturg might gem bait them a little. So we'll take a look at that. I don't think I looked at this so closely. Yeah, this is more Nidavengir's final form for this particular campaign against Scalaria. So the raiding groups have come in. We see the Zots here now. We see the Kithronic Lions. He's brought in some ghosts and a Banelord. A lot of chill auras in this army, so I think relying quite a bit on the weather to prevent his mages from freezing out, especially these Zots with their cold-blooded. And then we've got a number of Shaman in here. We've got a number of Iron Adepts, multiple lines of Ninilvas, 2 lines of Nidbetheds, including 1 giant one, so he's rebuilt his Nidbethed core. This guy's even got a Crucible of Stone, which is pretty neat, and a lot of reinvigoration with this amulet. So he's at Reinvig 7, and with Earth Power, he'll be at Reinvig 10. He's got a bunch of other adepts with Earth Boots and Earth Gems, another couple doing Astral stuff. He's brought Nature Magic. He's plugging a Bear Clan into a Communion with a Cornucopia and more Nature Gems, probably to do bigger nature spells. Like maybe like Army of Giants or Army Regen, stuff like that. Relief. Another Shaman who's got a Shield of Meteoritic Iron that does power the spheres, and then he's got a thistle mace and a moonvine bracelet, a bunch of gems, and a cornucopia. He'll also be doing high nature magic. I think to do all the big nature spells you want to do for a late game army, you frequently need 2 or more nature mages. It's really hard to do it on one to get everything you might want. There's Serpent's Blessing, there's Army of Giants, Army Regen, and then Relief, and then Howl. And there's probably a couple more, but there's a lot of big nature spells that late game armies like to field. We got a pretty thugged out Nid here with an Implementer Axe and a Horror Helmet. So he's a Fear 15 Thug, along with Greenstone Armor. So he's at 20 protection with 28 hit points. He's got 7 Scar Souls left, 20 for attack, 27 damage. Just an absolute warrior. We've got a Gate Cleaver, Nid Jarl. I like putting Gate Cleavers on at least guys with armor and a hat. I guess this guy has a skull face, which is interesting. It doesn't... I wonder if you empowered this guy, if he got like a death pass from this skull face. That's interesting. Or if it's just like a little piece of, not like a magical item. Oh, it says it's magic. Interesting. Huh. I do wonder if you empower them. I'll look it up really quick. I'll be honest, I've never bothered to look before. How do you spell it? Nidajarl. Just looking that up, and no, he does not get a free death path. Which I think is a little sad. I don't know. That'd be an interesting way. Like you'd never do it, generally speaking. But like if you empowered him in blood, maybe he became a free like death 1, blood 1. That'd be kind of funny. But all right. And then we've got a couple of white mages. It looks like this guy will join the communion and then do some big air spells. So he's got this Cloak of Astral Storms and a Storm in the Bottle for 6 temporary air gems. Now, it's probably off path because the communion is mostly shamans and they're Nature 1, Astral 1. So he's also given this guy a Just Man's Cross, so he has something to shoot when he's done casting his big spells, so he doesn't burn out the communion. And we've got a couple of big water mages, so there'll be water 4 with a temporary water gem. Probably doing stuff like Frostfend and something else. But yeah, very solid late game army. A lot of stuff in here. A little bit susceptible to... So he does have some Evo bait out in front with these trolls. But if somebody were to spam, I don't know, a bunch of Shadow Blasts into the middle of this formation, they might catch some mages, although Shadow Blast isn't particularly strong. I'm not sure what else Scaleria would do. If Scaleria has picked up Winds of Death over the past few turns, I could see a huge Winds of Death trap on this army with multiple casts before they attempt to storm, and I think that would ruin this army a bit. So turn 1 anti-magic also very important on this army, but I don't think we're gonna see it. Oh. So we've got Will of the Fates, Featherweight Army to avoid Earthquake spam. We've got Mass Regen. Mass Regen is the wrong nature spell. unless he doesn't have the research. He definitely wants army regen. I've made that mistake before. And he should have anti-magic up. Yeah, so he does have anti-magic up. Now, I did wait until round 2, so let's go ahead and take a look at this at round 1. It does have a casting time of around 200, so I'm not expecting it to go super fast. No, he's got it already. So let's see who cast it. I guess suppose we start at round 0. Wait, anti-magic. Okay, so it's just off this guy. I think it's so important though. Ideally, I'd like to see a golem casting that for a big doom stack, but rather than someone with human HP. But yeah, super solid army. I think Scaleria can definitely bloody the crap out of it, so we'll see if they, because now they're trapped in their fort, so we'll see if they sally with the Winds of Death trap. They'll want to have a fair amount of chaff so they get multiple casts off. And then the remaining chaff and the remaining mages stay inside of Scaleria and try to defend the citadel, so to speak. And we'll see how that goes. But he might have gone too far down blood to get to Evo 7. Because he was running around with Succubi. But hopefully we see something like that out of Scaleria. I think that'd be the most effective play, but we'll see if that ends up being his actual play, or if something else happens inside the fort. I think if he takes a straight fight, he probably loses. Rigor Mortis, I don't think will work, because the Nidbetheds regain their fatigue when you kill a Scarsol. So you're going to have to fatigue them out 4 or 5 times each. And I don't know that you'll have enough time to do that. Even in a gate. And I imagine that the featherweight army is part of an earthquake trap that Nidavellir is also going to do with his big earth mage. He might do a big earth buff for protection, but I do wonder that he might try to earthquake out a bunch of skeletons so his army can get inside the fort easier. So we'll see how this plays out. Could have pretty big ramifications on my future Diplo. Gosh, I am really worried about the Machaka Throne Rush. A lot of people are not adequately defending thrones. This one's Machaka's, but yeah, I mean, this one's at least fairly far away from Machaka. I don't think he'd go for Snowford. He certainly might go for mine, but again, I fixed that in my current turn, so I'm going to have this Troll King down here do a Wizard's Tower on Melma, which is this throne here. And I can start putting a bigger garrison in here too, and more troops in the region to kind of like better protect it. That should make a throne rush more difficult. Machaka's got a lot of mobility, but I haven't been seeing a lot of troops just yet. So it could be difficult for him to pull off a throne rush as long as people protect their thrones. So I think getting that Wizard's Tower up here will be a big piece of that. The other portion will be Calum forting their unforted throne. So, and then we can have some proper late game bullshit. Whether or not I come out on the plus side or minus side of that, I'm just looking forward to having a fun late game. And we can see how that goes. Although other players might not enjoy Utter Dark if it ends up staying up. And I think that's it. We are putting up a couple of forest domes this turn. I am trying to save nature, but I think it would be a good step for trying to block flames from the sky. It should block at least one cast each. And we've got a couple of other domes in here. So we've got a dome of solid air here, and then we've got a frost dome that's slowly winding down here. We could do with maybe adding some stuff in Ildmire. I don't know that I want to dome my thrones because I do want to be able to gateway in. That is an option with my pretenders. And I could probably make a, was it like the Crown of Bones? But I will wait until I have a free hammer turn to do that. And then that would let her teleport in with a larger force. And then I suppose, where is the, where's our S3? I don't know where I put him. We did put a golem here. But yeah, I mean, we would start rallying somewhat quickly. We might lose it initially, but we can start trying to position some mages in there. We've got Zan right next door, so we could initiate a Winds of Death trap, assuming we aren't locked in. But he is stealthy, so I would hope he could do like a stealth attack to the outside of this fort, but I haven't tested that. But yeah, I think that's it for this current turn. We're at about 26 minutes again. So hope you guys are not too bored with the peacetime, but I am looking forward to trying to pull off this late game shenanigan. And I'm interested in seeing what Machaka has planned, if he's also planning Enchanted Forests, or if he's planning a big Gift of Nature's Bounty cast, which would also be interesting. So we'll just have to see when we get there. What I do suspect is if Nidavellir takes a clean fight on Scaleria and takes Scaleria, that I'll probably get coalitioned. And we'll see what happens there. I think Machaka's purposefully letting Nidavellir get into the globals list so he doesn't look as scary relative to the other players. But that's something that I can potentially try to Akashic record, which I mean, now might be a reasonable time to Akashic record, at least on Machaka. But from what I've heard, one of the other, I forget, one of the other players I think has graphs, which should help with game state knowledge and sharing, assuming they're sharing with the right people. And we can see what happens there. So I think that's it for this one. I will go ahead and see you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Bye.